Okay, so as stated, today's topic is tariff. Just go ahead and spell it for you. Tariff, tariff. A tariff, by definition, and yes, I am reading the information, is a tax imposed by the government of a country or by a supranational union, supra, S-U-P-R-A, rather than S-U-P-E-R. So by a supranational union on imports or exports of goods. Besides being a source of revenue for the government, import duties can also be a form of regulation of foreign trade and policy that taxes foreign products to encourage or safeguard domestic industry. Now, hold on to that last part. Import duties can also be a form of regulation of foreign trade and policy that taxes foreign products to encourage or safeguard domestic industry. I'm focusing on domestic industry because today's topics includes examples of what President-elect Trump and his incoming administration actually want to do, thinking that their policies are going to help the average day consumer and the economy of the United States. As an example, as I said, President-elect Trump wants to place a 25% tariff on all goods imported from Mexico and Canada. That means the prices will go up on all of these products. However, there is some misinformation out there and some misunderstanding. You may have seen on YouTube, on TikTok, X, Facebook, Instagram, whatever platform that you use with news, seeing people interviewed and asking them if they understand what a tariff is. And the majority of them think that when a tariff is placed on a foreign country by a company or the United States, that country is going to pay for it. They have to pay the tariff. For example, the infamous wall on the southern border was going to be paid by Mexico, right? Well, of course, everybody knows that didn't happen because a tax on a foreign country is not paid by the foreign country. It's paid by the companies that are importing goods from that country, and we'll get into that a little bit later. So, as I said, that means the prices will go up on all those products. The country whose products are being tariffed or charged, as I said, are not paying the tariff. The tariff is placed on the product when it comes to the United States. It is paid by the companies or the entities who are purchasing the products. So here's an example. A small business owner owns a t-shirt company. So that company is ordering their t-shirts, and they say they get their blank t-shirts from Mexico in this example. So they place their order and they're getting their shirts. When those shirts come to the United States, to our port that receives that shipment, those t-shirts cannot be released to that company until the tariff is paid, that tax. Now, are you with me? So again, that means Mexico did not pay that tax. The company, the small business owner, is paying that tax. Now, either the owner or their representative goes down to the port to pick up the shirts, and they have to pay that tax. In case you're wondering where that money goes, the tariff money or tax money is paid to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection Service. From there, the money is sent to what I would call the government's accounts receivables service or department. And that's the end of that. Now, the small business owner will then have to make a decision. Are they going to eat the cost that they just paid to get the t-shirts physically into the United States? Or are they going to pass that on to us, the consumers, and raise their prices? You and I both know that generally speaking, that cost is going to be passed on to us. Some companies will eat it in the interest of customer service, but most will not. And so once that small business owner makes that decision, Then we, as the consumer, have to decide what we're going to do. So we go into this small business owner's company and we look at the t-shirt and the price. If the price is still within our budget, we'll go ahead and buy it. That means more money is coming out of our pocket, but not so much that we would make a decision not to buy the t-shirt from them. And so even though the price is raised, the small business owner continues to keep that business. But let's say the price is too high and we decide that we can no longer afford the t-shirt from that company and we're going to take our business elsewhere to find something else. That does two things. It shows that that tariff is not helping the economy. It's showing that that tariff is actually hurting it on a smaller scale. That means that small business owner, having raised their prices because of the tariff, have now lost your business. And they have to account for that. I mean, even me as a small business owner, my company is going to launch in January. As a notary public, I have to think about these things, particularly paper, my printing machine, my stamps, my books that are made out of paper. There's going to be a rising cost to those things. Now, as a notary public, I'm not going to necessarily pass those costs on to my consumers because of the type of industry that I'm going to be in. But some of the costs I may, for instance, if I'm charged a premium on using a debit card or credit card scanner, depending on that price, I may have to pass that cost on. And that is a ramification of a tariff or doing business. And so having given that example, I'm going to go ahead and tell you some things that you may not know that we get from Mexico, that we get from Canada, and give you an overview of China, because the amount of products that we get from China, I cannot go through that list. It's too long. And you would say, boy, bye. We ain't going to do all this. All right, so from Mexico, and I'm going to read this. From Mexico, we get motor vehicles, motor vehicle parts, computer equipment, audio and visual equipment, communication equipment, and oil and gas, just to name a few. The Perryman Group, sourcing Statista Charts as the example, who did this work about what a tariff would do to the United States economy. Statista Charts estimates a 5% tariff on Mexican imports would cost the United States an estimated 400,000 jobs from multiple sectors. I'll repeat that. The Perryman Group sourcing Statista Charts estimates that a 5% tariff, not the high end of 25%, but just the 5% tariff on Mexican imports would cost the United States an estimated 400,000 jobs from multiple sectors. So again, I go back. They think that the tariff is actually going to hurt the other country. It's not. Not in the long run. Because how many t-shirt factories do you know of in the United States that are cost effective in order for these companies to buy their shirts from the United States than rather foreign entities who actually do the same shirts cheaper? Therein lies the conundrum. Now, from Canada, we get mineral fuels, vehicles other than railway, tramway, plastics, pearls, aluminum, electrical equipment, iron and steel, aircraft, spacecraft, paper and paper products like I was talking about. That price will rise for me. Milk and cereal products, furniture and prefabricated building and lumber and other items. The example here is if you're building a house and that house is made of lumber, particularly the framing and everything, you know how we talk about, they say, why is it so expensive? Well, it's the cost of goods and services. Well, nobody talks about the price of goods and services. Have you noticed that? And I talk about that all the time, and it falls on deaf ears. Only people talk about the price. Well, what's the price on? That should be part of the conversation. But then the example about China. This is what I use as the example. So go into a Walmart. and you're trying to, during Independence Day, I used to work for Amazon in their HR department, and we led by example. So on holidays, we dressed up. So I was trying to find an Independence Day hat and an Independence Day t-shirt. And I saw a rack of t-shirts in Walmart, and I walked in there and I looked at the label, and the majority of them were made in China. But then I saw a different design. There were two of them there, just happened to be my size. And I looked at the label. Lo and behold, this t-shirt was made in the UK. So I popped that right up. The t-shirt made in the UK was $12, but the t-shirts made in China were $10. I went ahead and made the decision to buy the t-shirt from UK because of the business practices that we all know about China. So that's what I did. Now, as I was saying earlier, I'll just go ahead and read a sentence or two about how a tariff really is looked at and what the positive and negative of the tariff is supposed to be. So the economic burden of tariffs falls on the importer, the exporter, and the consumer. The importer is the company ordering the products and bringing them in. The exporter is the company that creates the product and sends it out. And then, of course, it's the buyer, the consumer, that's us. Often intended to protect specific industries, tariffs can end up backfiring and harming the industries they were intended to protect through rising input costs and regulatory tariffs. Like I was saying, just a 5% tariff that they used an example from Statista charts saying that we would lose 400,000 jobs across multiple sectors. So there you have it, just a general broad overview of what a tariff is, how it works, and some examples. I hope you learned something from this video. If you have any questions about this video or you find other information about the tariff, you can put it down in the comment section, and I'll look at the comments and see what I can find about it and respond to you, or I may create another video about your comment information that you put there. But for today, that's the end of the video about the tariff. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for viewing. Please like, subscribe if you like this video. But the biggest thing that I hope that comes out of this channel is that you'll share this information with people in your circles, because these conversations can sometimes be hard. And sometimes you don't want to talk about it because maybe you don't understand how it works. And I think that I always say that knowledge is power. And if you have this knowledge, you can be confident when you're having those conversations. And actually, you have something to back it up. If somebody's telling you different, they're coming at you sideways, pull up this video and they can see what a tariff actually is and how it works. And if they disagree still, all they got to do is do the research like I did. On tariff, it took me all of 15 minutes to gather the information to do this video. They can do the same thing. But of course, people won't do it. But that's another topic for another day. Again, thank you. Please like. But the most important thing is to share if you feel so moved. Thank you for viewing this video. Have a great evening and happy holidays.